We all know that the BCCI media rights are soon going to come up. For the period of 2024 till now, we know the FTP of the Indian cricket team, who are all going to play when. Now, at this point in time, it is obvious that India are going to play a lot more against the top teams. So, there will be a lot more money at stake. It might be great times, right, for Indian cricket. But when you look at it, the BCCI may have actually done women's cricket a bit of disservice here. Because the way how they have prepared the media rights, it actually points out that whatever growth that women's cricket is currently undergoing after the end of the pandemic, all that might be underwritten, because one major development has been happening, and that has been reported on CricBuzz. According to the report, whatever is in the BCCI media rights, there is no separate package for women's cricket. Now remember, men's cricket have got separate packages. This unfortunately means that women's cricket will be clubbed with other series with limited domestic, you may say, transmission. Now, women's cricket has been classified as other series in the media package. So traditionally what happens is, if you look at other countries, most of the international matches are clubbed together, so that there is no differentiation. Yes, men and women, that will be international games also are clubbed together. Then there is separate identification and packages. For example, in the WBBL, in the WNCL, in Australia, those are given different packages so that it can be shown comprehensively on domestic networks. But in India, that isn't the case, because other series is the clubbing of Vijay Hazare, Ranji, A Tour, Syed Mushtaq Ali, Irani Trophy, and then there is women's cricket. Everything that has to come under women's cricket, right from the senior team till the division, till all the other domestic tournaments involving women, even the WPL, that will come under other series. When there is availability to telecast, at that time they will telecast it. Now, this is a big problem when you have to look at the way how the media rights will function, because why would you not want to create a distinct identity? Because you have to market one product aggressively so that it can grow. In this case, it is women's cricket. Now, all over the world, you're seeing Australia, England, India, there is a big growth in women's cricket. Women's cricket in India in particular has been on the upward slope since 2017, when they reached the final of the ICC Women's World Cup. After that, they reached the final of the World T20 and in the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Still, despite all that, and they recently won the Under-19 World Cup as well, still despite all that, there is no package. Then why did the WPL media rights go for rupees 951 crores for 5 years? Remember, when that was sold, it looked as if it was a groundbreaking moment in BCCI. But no, unfortunately, the current media rights do not give you that indication that the BCCI wants to do a lot for women's cricket. Because if they wanted to do it, they would have had a separate package for them, a unique, distinct identity which is available for all. But unfortunately, even the viewer base in India is still not mature enough to ensure they watch women's cricket with the same intensity like how they do with men's cricket. Combining both and men and women's matches underscores growth in India. That is the problem. Now you are combining all of them, and that means you have given no separate identity for you to grow. Normally, if you are under something, if you have clubbed every entity together, one entity which is more popular will dominate, the others will get suppressed under that. And that is why this is a major issue now. And what is the worst part in this entire thing is, the BCCI is only seeking the media rights value for men's cricket. This is the message. They are only seeking the media rights value for men's games, and because of that, the rights holders will have free access to women's international matches. Access is great, but what about the money? You need money to grow. Where is that money? It will be concentrated mostly around men's international games. Because there is free access to women's international matches, The money is just not going to come. How are you going to generate the revenue? How are you going to ensure that women's cricket continues to grow in India? Because now even in the contract system, if you look at it, there is a 14 times discrepancy when it comes to the top earning male player and top earning woman player. That is the problem. So as far as contracts is concerned, that is not going to change. But seeking only media rights for men's matches and free access to women's international matches, it means that you are not going to generate enough money to ensure the women's game is going on an upward slope. ICC, Australia, England all have separate packages, and that is how the growth is being achieved. ICC, Australia and England, how do they ensure? Why are most of the international stars coming from those two places, Australia and England? Because Australia in particular, England are a close second. They aggressively prioritize women's games more than male counterparts from other countries. This is the difference. Australia is a far more egalitarian or an equal society when it comes to men and women. That's why you look at it, their contracts are also to the next level. New Zealand may be offering the same pay when it comes to the matches for both men and women. Australia are also doing the same, but on a much larger basis. So is England. But in India, that isn't the case. Within Australia domestic market, this is the key here. Within the domestic market, there is a separate identification for WBBL and Women's International. They don't club everything in the same thing. There is a separate package for WBBL. There is a separate package for Women's Internationals. Here, what are we trying to do? Follow the Australian example. WBBL is separate. Women's Internationals are separate. Here, WPL, Women's International Games in India and everything else associated. It's all coming in one whole radar, and that too within another umbrella. So, an umbrella within an umbrella, that is how this system is. So, all games, men and women, are clubbed for international market. Now, this works if you are wanting to telecast matches at an international level. But when you want to focus on your own country, at that time, there is just no diversification. This is the major problem in this new BCCI media rights that might come up. Now, men's cricket, remember this one line which I had just said, only seeking media rights value for men's games. This is the problem. If this is the mindset that is there, how much ever money you would want to pump in through the media rights of the WPL and everything else, your actual growth in the grassroots will not happen. Because through the media rights, you can get a lot of money in, the money will then be distributed, and then accordingly, the infrastructure upgrades, new talent will then be identified. It all begins from priority. And at this time, the BCCI's priority, unfortunately, is not women's cricket at this point. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you.